Korea. I'm the anchor of CFA News, Zoe Tim. As today's host, I welcome you to the third and final 2016 presidential debate sponsored by the CFA Institute. The two opposing sides are Mr. Cho and Mr. Lee. Now, on to the first question. Should investors buy CJ Korea Express? Two candidates. Here's your question. State your position and tell us why. You first, Mr. Cho.
My answer is yes. Buy CJ Korea Express. The target price is at $240,000 with an upside potential of 28%. And the reason is very simple. It's because CJ Korea Express is a good company at a good price. And I see three investment points for CJ Korea Express. One, its average selling price will increase. Two, it will absorb competitor market share. And three, its margins will increase.
I see. Next, Mr. Lee.
I'm sorry, but I do not buy any of my opponent's argument. I agree that CJ Correx is a good company, but I do not believe that his investment point will be possible. My reasons are: 1. CJ Correx is highly overpriced. 2. It is exposed large number of risks. And 3. His argument is too optimistic.
Wow, I'm so excited. I can see that it's going to be a very intriguing debate tonight. So before we jump in, I update you with a brief financial analysis. CJ Korea Express is a subsidiary of CJ and operates business in three divisions: parcels, contract logistics, and global. This is based on how small or large the package is and whether the business is done domestic or international. As you can see here, its revenue and operating profit have been steadily increasing. So now that our viewers have been aware of its current standings, we turn the debate to you, Mr. Cho. If I remember correctly, your first point was that its average selling price will increase. Is that right?
You have a very good memory, Zoe. But before I answer your question, I'll need to explain about the parcel industry. The parcel industry has been growing and will continue to grow. This is powered by the growth of three markets: e-commerce, home shopping, and small-size manufacturing.
I see. I understand that the parcel industry is in a pricing war, that the average ASP of the market is constantly decreasing.
Yes, in fact, CJ Korea Express is leading that movement by constantly decreasing its average selling price.
Interesting. What makes them possible?
Well, the answer for that question lies in its market share. With the lowest ASP, CJ Korea Express is dominating the parcel market. The parcel industry is a market where only price matters. We analyzed that CJ Korea Express was able to retain its market share by constantly decreasing its average selling price.
I'm sorry, but I thought that you told us that CJ Correx will be able to increase the price.
Yes, we did. In fact, that's why it's our investment point. By June 2018, CJ Korea Express will have finished construction of its Mega Hub terminal and installed wheel sorters into 195 terminal. This immense upgrade of its processing capacity will allow CJ Korea Express to make 2 deliveries in 1 day possible.
So this means that CJ Correx will be able to differentiate itself with speed in a market where only price matters.
You're right on the spot, and that's why we analyzed the future ASP movements of CJ Korea Express and made our revenue assumptions accordingly. As a result, we arrived at a revenue forecast of 2.21 trillion won and operating profit of 64.2 billion won by 2017.
So this makes us more anticipated to hear your second reasoning. So please now elaborate on how CJ Correx will be able to absorb CL competitor market share.
I would love to, but before I begin, I would like to ask a question for you, Zoe. Who do you think the main competitor of CJ Korea Express is in contract logistics?
Maybe I have to say Hanjin.
You're absolutely right. There's one thing that Hanjin does better than CJ Korea Express. It's that they possess a vertically integrated logistics value chain. For an example, Hanjin will move it to a port, Hanjin Shipping will deliver to a different country, and finally, their international subsidiary will complete that delivery. However, this no longer is the case.
Oh, you're talking about the Hanjin shipping crisis, aren't you?
You're absolutely right. As you can see, Hanjin no longer retains control over a very crucial segment of its value chain. Hanjin has lost credibility in a market where it's most valued. CJ Korea Express, with economies of scale and being number 1 in the Korean contract logistics market, will absorb the market share that Hanjin is bound to lose.
Indeed, as you say, observing the competitor's market share will be a big plus for CJ Corrects.
Yes, and that's why we estimated the churn rate of CL Hanjin revenue to CJ Korea Express. We arrived at a revenue of 2.46 trillion won and an operating profit of 139 billion won by 2017.
Wow. And your last point was that its global margin will increase, right?
You're right, but I leave this question to my running mates.
Yes, and thank you. If you take a look at the company CJ Corrects recently acquired, there is a common point. They operate on increasing margins. Acquired companies such as Rockin, Century, Speedex are improving overall profitability. Synergy with CJ parent company CJ's corporate governance and infrastructure will improve global margins. And so, we arrived at forecast revenue of 2.47 trillion won and operating profit of 63.8 billion won by 2017 and ultimately to increase in margins throughout.
So, to wrap up what you have just said, investors must buy CJ Corrects because of these 3 points. Now, do you have a target price?
In fact, we do. We conducted an CFA valuation to properly value CJ Correct's future cash flow. We didn't stop there and conducted an valuation using multiple to further see if our CFA valuation could be justified. As a result, we arrived at a target price of 240,000 won.
Do you have any questions for your opponent, Mr. Lee?
I'm sorry, but I find that target price rather hard to believe. Which model did you use to incorporate your investment point into your future cash flow?
Considering that it operates a competitive business model in a rather stable market, we used two-stage growth model. We quantified our investment points when assuming its future revenue.
But I remember that CJ Correct's current PE ratio at 88 and 2017 forward PE ratio at 29. Compared to industry peers, CJ Corrects is highly overpriced. Actually, I don't understand how you arrived at your target price.
Thank you for your question. This will be answered by our campaign director.
Some people say that it's rather expensive. I'm not going to say that it's not, but we believe that it should be priced much higher. For example, you would say high-end iPhone is expensive because it's priced much higher than a low-end Xiaomi phone. And so we believe that we could not apply the average industry PE ratio for CJ Corrects.
Then why does CJ Corrects deserve a premium?
Its current high PE ratio reflects market expectations for improvement profit, and this will be actualized in 2017. We estimate ROE, which is a key measure of profitability. It will increase from 2.9 to 6.38 by 2017. The 2017 forward PB ratio of 1.7 was calculated by regressing our future ROE into its historical forward PB ratio. Even though it might look a bit expensive now, but its future profitability pointed out through our investment point will justify such expectations.
I have to agree that CJ Corrects is a good company, but I see so many risks as such: market, operational, country, economic, and regulatory.
Yes, we acknowledge that CJ Corrects has risks, and we use a Monte Carlo simulation to reflect them. We plotted the risk metrics and calculated the appropriate target price for each risk. The simulation result showed that investors must still buy CJ Corrects with high probability.
Then what if CJ Corrects can't increase its parcel price? Case of Japan is a representative example.
The case of Japan is not appropriate to compare with our case because first, Japan's parcel ASP is already 2-fold higher than Korea's. Second, different housing culture results in different parcel market situation. Japanese mostly live in a house, whereas Koreans mostly live in an apartment.
Wow, we've seen a really interesting debate today. Before we end, any last comments?
With a target price of 240,000, we emphasize once again that CJ Korea Express is a must-buy for investors. CJ Korea Express is operating on strong ground and exhibits great potentials for growth, which we have summarized through our investment points. Once again, they are: its average selling price will increase, 2, it will absorb competitor market share, and 3, its margins will increase. As some may concern, it is highly priced, but we believe it should be priced way much higher. You have to move now. Buy CJ Korea Express.
There you have it. We're running out of time and have to cut it here. To hear the questions from the audience, I'd like to hand the mic over to you. Thank you for listening.